Pro Wrestling Weekly. For over 20 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment radio talk.
Is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
You really do sound like a
grizzled old vet. Is that where you were going with there?
yes.
To not get you in trouble?
Oh, I'll get in trouble at some point. Believe me, I'll do something.
Well, to keep you out of trouble in this case, at least.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Ferran Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Ooh, I'm getting good at this radio thing.
Yeah. It only took you 5.5 years.
I'm not good at it yet. I'm starting.
Yeah.
Only slightly.
Slowest escalator upward. There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Ferran Derry here with all the gang. It's like a family reunion here at the Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
Mitch and Twitch.
Indeed.
That was a little tongue-in-cheek. It looked
It's just been a long week.
You all right, Chief?
You don't know the half of it.
No,
it's
Mitch, I'm not okay. Thank you for asking. And no, I will not elaborate.
Well, I thought he was talking to me because Chief,
Well, I was just hoping someone was
hold on,
asking
hold
about
on.
my well-being, Ferran.
I'm going to say this. Ferran is boss. Twitch is chief.
Where's Maxwell Smart when we need him? Sorry about that, Chief. I know, it's way over Mitch's head. Get smart. Yeah, no, okay. There I go again with my 50-plus-year-old references.
Oh, don't worry, I'm right there with you. It's just, it's just nice to know that John Mulaney's the same way.
What, very old school in terms of the references and whatnot?
Yes. In fact, when he was approached to play Spider-Ham in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, they were saying, you're going to play a cartoon pig that makes 70-year-old movie references, and he went, I got this in the bag.
Nothing like typecasting, right?
Yeah, right.
Simple. Easy.
And he killed it.
As would be expected?
Yes.
I wouldn't imagine otherwise. So, yes, we've got a few different things to get into here over the Thanksgiving kind of holiday. In terms of news, there's not a whole lot going on, but, there's one particular nugget we'll get into in a little bit as CM Punk had advised Seth Rollins, just stop tweeting. That advice should have been taken by at least a few other people. Because, boy, were there some Twitter tiffs this week.
Ooh, do tell.
Oh, goodness, yeah. And it had an effect on the WWE pay-per-views and, WWE television over the course of the week.
Ooh, it's going to be good.
It is and it isn't. We'll put it that way. There's a lot of moving parts to this. We'll just leave it at that.
One of the first rules of punk rock is don't pop off on Twitter.
See, I don't know. I'm not.
That's a reference to one of the people that went into a
the
Twitter
one into the Twitter. Yeah. So thanks to that, we've got a bit of a commentator controversy on our hands.
That's exactly the thing I was referencing.
Yeah, because I like alliteration.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks to a tweet from SmackDown color commentator Corey Graves. I might be a little scathing through this. Just fair warning.
Oh, I also am mentally ill, so I'm looking at this through a bit of a bias. So
Yeah, not exactly rose-tinted glasses. So
no, but we will be seeing red. But
yes, no, you're not totally wrong on that. So Graves, this past Saturday during NXT TakeOver, it issued a bit of a critical tweet of NXT play-by-play commentator Mauro Ranallo, who is really good,
very, very good.
But I mean, nobody is necessarily without criticism. It's just a matter of how you construct it. this was anything but constructive criticism. So
No, he was coming off as quite the Richard.
yes, he absolutely was.
Whether or not that was in gimmick or not, let MJF do that, Corey. You're a commentator. You're not, you know.
So Ronaldo had tweeted, quote, "Just for the record, guys, I know you wouldn't know it, but there's actually a WWE Hall of Famer and a former Ring of Honor champion on commentary. I'd imagine they have a lot to offer. Hashtag NXT TakeOver War Games." Now, his reference was essentially to Ronaldo hogging the microphone time, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, leaving little time for contributions from co-commentators Beth Phoenix and Nigel McGuinness, the respective Hall of Famer and
Ring of
Honor
World
Champion. Yeah, now he had also replied to another person's tweet noting that that particular other tweeter had just turned on NXT TakeOver and had asked to the Twitter world how many Chicago rap references Morrow had made, because the pay-per-view was in Chicago, to which Graves had replied, quote, "Far, far too many." I'm not in on the hip scene like that, so I don't. Those references would have gone over my head. But
the thing about Mauro Ranallo is, and whatever criticism people like to make about him, whether or not it's he gets over, like everything seems like a big deal or something like. Look, the man is enthusiastic about his job, and what I can say about Mauro Ranallo, which not a lot of commentators do, is every reference he makes is to enhance the product going on, as opposed to certain commentators will make it about them.
Why were you glaring at me as you said that?
I wasn't.
Now who's
Not
being
you.
the Richard? No.
Not you. No, you are also darn good at what you do on commentary, which is to enhance what is going on in the ring. A lot of commentators, because they like to, and this isn't directed at anyone specifically, but I will say it, people are guilty of doing this. Everyone wants to try and be the next Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah, there's something to that where you're trying to be, well, I mean, Heenan had a way of being entertaining but also not taking too much of the spotlight off of the people in the ring.
But at the same time, it is the I don't want to say the art of imitation, but it's the thing about imitation is it'll never be directly what they're trying to imitate.
And it's the sincerest form of flattery, but
Not really. I mean, yeah, it is, but also
it's a watered down version.
seldom done right.
Yes.
You Mauro Ranallo, yeah, he'll make a crap ton of rap references, which, to be fair, yeah, that was a good one, the person that tweeted. And he probably did make way too many. But everything he says is to enhance the product going on in the ring. It's not to make it about them.
And
There's no aside that they're just gonna, maybe the person that was saying far too many, it could be said about how many times you take a dig at Byron Saxton on commentary instead of paying attention to the match that's going on. Graves.
Glass houses, stones, that sort of thing. I gotcha.
Because, sure, maybe he made way too many rap references, but I can't see what taking a shot at Corey...
Byron Saxton?
Yeah, I can't see what Corey Graves taking a shot at Byron Saxton is doing to tell people, hey, this match is going on in the ring right now. In fact, it tells me you couldn't give two squats.
Yeah, no, there's something to that, and again, I think that's part of the trying to replicate the playful banter between Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
But it's not playful. It just comes off as just crass.
Bitter, snarky, crass,
Sounds like, look, if this...
mean-spirited.
Yeah, if this was behind the scenes, I get it. That's just the way wrestlers, we Mahoney bust.
Yes.
But to do it on commentary...
In the middle of a match? No, I get you. Now, why all this is being expanded for Mauro Ranallo, I mean, those who aren't familiar, he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression going back to the late 1980s, when he was, when he was in his late teens. And
he was also, they also did a Showtime special, I think last year or 2 years ago, called Bipolar Rock and Roller.
Mm-hmm. And it was kind of spotlighting his career and how he's been able to overcome the diagnoses and still have a very successful and lucrative career. But the comments from Corey Graves look to have hit pretty hard, as Ranallo ended up not calling the Survivor Series pay-per-view this past Sunday night, WWE noting that Ranallo had enthusiastically blown his voice out the night prior. Which, for most people, if they hadn't seen the Corey Graves tweet, I'd buy that. I've had a few Saturday nights at the Monster Factory where I've gotten so into what was going that my voice was a little raspy for the next few days. It happens. Which is real good when you're working a call center Monday to Friday, because then you have no time to recover. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Just a little aside there, although that call center thing will be a thing of the past in about a week. Thank goodness. Moving on before I get myself into Corey Graves type trouble. But yeah, people knew things went for the worse when Ranallo ended up deleting his Twitter account. Ooh. Graves, meanwhile, doubled down on his comments. Though people were calling for him to apologize to Ranallo, Graves instead posted a couple of other tweets that stood by his statement. One with an image or a meme with a quote from Buddha, quote, "3 things cannot be long hidden, the sun, the moon, and the truth." I feel like I needed some Zen-like music in the background for that, but nah. He then followed up
Because, of course, Corey Graves, you are Buddha. With your wonderful wisdom, losing your marbles whenever Mandy Rose is on TV.
I thought it was Carmella. Well,
He
take
does
your
it
pick.
for a lot of divas.
Yeah. No, that was Jerry Lawler. And then he followed up the next day by tweeting, "It's far more conducive to the human condition to be mad than to be wrong." So I guess that's him saying, well, all right, haters gonna hate, but I'm still right. I guess that's what he's going for there.
At the expense of someone's mental health?
Well, and that's where a lot of people came to Ranallo's defense, including the Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, who I know is very polarizing in the wrestling community.
Which, to be fair, before we go any further, that is a conclusion I've drawn. It's probably better to be polarizing in wrestling. I don't know about you. I'd rather have people love me or hate me. You never want someone to have the reaction of,
Yeah, apathy is worse than that's worse than a negative reaction in a lot of cases. Because if there's a negative reaction, at least they care enough to still react. I think that's where people say there's no such thing as bad press, because at least attention is being paid to you, even if it's negative attention. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't agree with that either. Just ask Jim Cornette, another polarizing figure in professional wrestling.
Yeah, that.
No one feels apathetic towards Corey Graves.
I would imagine there are few. I mean, except for those, suck it up buttercup types, who feel that Ranallo's overreacting. And rather than walk further down that road and potentially get myself in more trouble, we're going to go ahead and get back to the facts here about it. So Meltzer had reported on the tweets that apparently WWE officials were reportedly not happy with Graves' tweets. Let me put on my surprise face, although you can't see it on radio. But Meltzer was called out by Graves Monday saying, quote, "Meltzer, you uninformed, false narrative-pushing liar. My phone works. You're a journalist, right? You can find my number." Basically calling bull on that supposed report. Now, that tweet has since been deleted. The original tweet has not. Meltzer ended up responding, "Now that we're on day 3 of this, you could at least apologize tomorrow, show a slight bit of remorse, take down the tweet, all of the above. When you mess someone up on your own team, don't think only about yourself first, second, and last."
Yeah.
So Graves, again, not backing down, responded to that saying, "My phone isn't ringing, Dave. More content to continue your rumor mongering, I see." So Graves he's painting himself into a little bit of a corner. And one person who kind of helped corner him a little bit, not somebody who I'd want to corner me. Ronaldo's manager and friend, former MMA fighter Frank Shamrock.
Oh,
You didn't know about that?
No, I did not.
So, yeah, Shamrock had taken one of Graves' meme tweets and kind of turned it around on him, taking the quote, "Social media has made too many of you comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the mouth for it."
Yeah.
Because I think maybe about a week prior, Graves had actually posted that very same thing. So Graves responded by asking if Shamrock had approved the tweet with Meltzer instead of calling him or actually coming to TV to discuss things like grown men. Then that's a direct quote.
Yeah. Graves.
Yeah.
It made
Little bit of bravado there. Not necessarily the thing that you want to do with an MMA fighter, with Frank Shamrock.
You know, here's the thing. Makes me think of Jorge Masvidal, an MMA fighter who, you know, after the person he was fighting, Ben Askren, had been calling him out for multiple things that were deemed very personal, right? Masvidal ended up winning the fight within like under 10 seconds, I believe, with a knee to the face, running at him, arms behind his back. And he had then, I guess, doubled down in the post-fight interview. And when people asked him to apologize, he said, no. Why is it that people, like, before the fight, oh, no holds barred, everything's cool, you can say whatever you want on social media to promote the fight. And Ben has, you know, I'm not done with Ben Askren either. If I run into him in an aisle in Whole Foods, I'm going to punch him in the mouth. Like,
Who?
Yeah. Which, first of all, made me very much respect Jorge Masvidal. Made me a fan. I don't even watch MMA that much. But it's that same thing of people do get way too comfortable with things that they say on social media. You get way too comfortable and act like... doesn't matter if you're just trying to be funny or snarky, you know, it's going to bite you in the butt.
More often than not. Yeah, that is the case. So Shamrock just kind of let it go, basically saying, your tweet, buddy, not mine. Call me anytime or stop by. Happy to chat. I'm in L.A. So it's a little bit of kind of barking from a distance. So I don't think anything's going to necessarily come of it, but it's hard to say. Now, Graves did eventually apologize, but not on Twitter. Instead, it was on his After the Bell podcast, where he gave a statement early on in the podcast noting, quote, "This past Saturday during the TakeOver War Games event, I sent out a tweet. It was an unpopular opinion, as I often do, with the intention of just stirring up a little controversy, maybe have a little something fun to talk about on TV or here on the show. It was maybe not the most professional way to go about things, and it was never meant to offend or disrespect or disparage anybody. That was never my intention. If it was taken as such, I apologize deeply. That was not my intention. I would never intentionally cause anybody undue stress, especially a coworker, so I apologize." Didn't mention Ronaldo by name at all, and just kind of gave a generic thing. And despite that apology, Ronaldo did not call NXT this past Wednesday, and I don't really know if we're 100% sure when or even if he'll return. I mean, I hate to say if, like...
For me, it's always weird, like, it was never my intention to offend anybody. What's the saying? The path to hell is paved with good intentions?
Something like that.
Doesn't just... Even if it was your intention, wasn't your intention, just say, hey, I said this, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize that it was going to have the effect that it did. I would take it back if I could. Just be more sincere.
Well, I think that maybe that's the thing, is that maybe he isn't sorry and that he's kind of giving this apology through gritted teeth. And if he were to be more sincere, then, well, maybe there would not be an apology. You know, or maybe he'll go the Jeff Jarrett route and say, "I'm sorry that I didn't do it earlier." No, too much?
No, not too much. You know, Graves is, I don't think, the one thing I can give Graves is Graves has never been someone who has been, fake. He says what he says, whether or not I just think that sometimes being genuine can only get you so far.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now I was going to say the phones are lighting up on this here, and I'm curious to see which way this is going. But we're going to take care of a timeout here because we're a little late for it, and then we'll come back. We'll get to Ed from Northeast Philly and Sean on the lines here, and we've got a lot more to get into as well here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Lee Piccarello inviting you to tune in every Friday morning at 8 a.m. to The Head Game, a must-listen show for athletes and coaches of all levels and ages. Mindful Athlete Training in Newtown, Pennsylvania is a mental circuit training program that prepares the athletes to perform at the highest level of today's game. Athletes get into the zone faster and stay there longer. Tune in every Friday morning at 8 a.m. right here on WBCB 1490 AM and throughout the world at WBCB1490.com.
Avoid FOG. No, I'm not talking about the inclement weather, but fats, oil, and grease. Approximately 80% of grease-related sewer blockages and overflows occur in residential areas. That's because FOG clings to the inside of pipes, eventually causing a blockage. So never put fats, oil, and grease down the drain. This message from BCWSA, your utility partner for a safer environment. Learn more about what not to put down your drain online. BCWSA.net. All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
The Bristol Borough Community Action Group Food Bank at 99 Wood Street in Bristol has been serving Lower Bucks County since 1971. It's your monthly tax-deductible donations that allow us to provide food for hundreds of households each month. Please consider a generous one-time or recurring monthly donation at www.givebucks.org. That's www.givebucks.org. Help us help those in need. Please donate today. The Bristol Borough Community Action Group, 99 Wood Street, Bristol, PA 19007.
Corporate Sedan Service is built with you in mind. Corporate Sedan Service's large fleet of vehicles and knowledgeable driving professionals meets the unique needs of each person safely and reliably. Don't take our word for it. Check out their great reviews on Yelp. For corporate car service, airport transportation, or a family vacation, call Corporate Sedan Service. Are you ready to take a ride? Call 877-801-6140. That's 877-801-6140, or go to sedanservice.com.
He's got the Luigi death stare from Ferran, so he might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Ferran Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Ferran Derry here with you alongside Twitch and Mitch.
Heyo.
Or Mitch and Twitch. You can bicker later about top billing or second billing or, I don't know, one of those things. It's going to be one of those shows, that's for sure.
Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to bring up the Joey Styles thing, but yeah, it's pretty much it.
Oh boy, it's going to be one of those shows. I can feel it.
It most certainly is. So let's see if we can get it back on track with a look at the local scene, courtesy of Ed from Northeast Philly. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving.
I did have a nice Thanksgiving. Leading up to and immediately, or the day after, not quite as good. But, no, it's been a rough week. But Thanksgiving went well.
It was a good show at the arena this past Saturday.
Oh, very nice.
They had Orange Cassidy there against Bubba Ray and Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, very nice.
That should be up on YouTube, I think. That match, I think.
Probably. I mean, I know that they also have some stuff on Twitch.tv to make sure the appropriate distinction. Yeah, I know there's the House of Hardcore channel.
Yes.
Anyway, into the list. Not the Jericho list.
Yeah, no, that's a little bit in the past. Yeah, we're past the list days, and we are on to Le Champion, whom we'll hear about a little bit later, as there's a fun story with him.
Ooh.
Pro Wrestling After Dark comes to Brick Pal in Brick, New Jersey, January 3rd, 2020, with Tessa Blanchard, Killer Cross, and Joe Gacy. 7 p.m. bell time.
That should certainly be a goodie.
Yeah, tickets might be going fast for that one.
I can only imagine.
Yes. Especially with Tessa on the card.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that as well.
Well, she is one of the top performers in Impact Wrestling right now, and she looks like she's going to be one of the next challengers for Sami Callihan's world title in Impact. So,
What's a twist?
I think she can take him.
I think so. They had a good match at what was it, Slammiversary?
I think this is her third match against him, against Callahan.
Interesting.
And CCW tonight, Night of Infamy at the Colossal Sports Academy in Voorhees. Joe Gacy versus AR Fox for the world title, and Matt Tremont's on the card as well.
Yeah, he's wrestling Anthony Gangone.
Wasn't that the guy that carries the pizzas around? Or maybe I'm thinking about someone else.
I would think
might be
you're thinking
somebody
of
else.
Anthony Gangone is definitely not a pizza guy.
Although, thanks, you just made me hungry.
This one, Royal H coming to Philadelphia on the 15th of December at the 2300 Arena.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
the fallout from Final Battle.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's in Baltimore the 2 nights before that, or 1 night before that.
2 nights, that's on Friday night, the 13th. Friday the 13th of December, and then they've got a Future of Honor in Joplin, Maryland, on Saturday night, and then the Final Battle Fallout in Philly on the 15th.
Yeah, Briscoe's on the card. Boy Ray, Dan Matt, Jay Lethal, and Brett Titus.
Yeah, a lot of noted names there, that's for sure.
Boy Ray's coming back to the... Hasn't heard of him since that incident back over the summertime, I think. He was pulled from some cards.
Well, it's funny. I did see a tweet kind of circling back to the whole Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo thing. There was somebody who was tweeting asking if Bully Ray or Mark Henry could have a chat with Corey Graves.
That's a big mistake if it's Bully Ray.
Well, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a mistake, but it wouldn't be good for Corey Graves.
That's true. He has a temper.
You don't say.
That's wow. I've only heard that from every person that's ever met him.
I think I just stuck my foot in my mouth.
Possibly. At least mostly up the arch, yeah. I would say so.
Well, I've always been a fan of soul food. I don't know about you.
I'm not going there.
It's too late for the rim shot. Don't do it.
No, I was going for the head desk.
In Monroeville, PA, at Steel City Con, they have Trish Stratus, Devon Dudley, Amy Dumas, who's leader, and Sergeant Slaughter on December 6th to the 8th.
Well, that's fantastic.
Triple WA is coming to Pottstown on December 14th at Coventry Mall Arena with a 7:30 p.m. bell time. And then at the Q-Mart
branching out a little
on
bit.
The 28th. The 28th at Q-Mart Arena in Quakertown.
Okay. Well, hey, they're getting where they can get. They're
holiday. I'll save this for next week. The holiday tour for the WWE.
Yeah, they have their rounds. That's that's for sure. We'll get into the it's still November. Let's pump the brakes on the holidays a little bit here. Y'all can have it tomorrow, but
yeah, that's true. And MFPW, I'll save that for you.
Oh well, how thoughtful of you.
Thank you. It's about time that the Monster Factory made it into your look at the local scene.
Well, I think he knows that we usually have it covered, so I figured he didn't want to necessarily rehash or beat a dead horse or anything of that nature here.
I didn't want to step on your toes again.
Not stepping on toes or anything like that. But no, the next event is 2 weeks from tonight on December 14th. And it looks like we're going to see Getty Cahoon and Hyena Hex
for the last time.
Yeah, the one last fight as they're
a ladder match.
A ladder match for the heavyweight and supersonic championships, or at least his heavyweight championship, I should say. That's right. These there's so much going on with it. There were titles that changed hands at Turkey Slam. Yeah, the Prowl is kind of at least they're on the mend for the moment. We'll see how things go along the way.
Total Divas is a two-parter on E! Network.
A two-parter.
Yeah. The season finale.
Ah, yes, the season finale. Yeah, that stuff's doing all right. We'll talk a little bit. Actually, we're gonna at least broach slightly into Total Divas a little bit later as well.
Yeah, I know you have Sean waiting on the line.
Oh, yes. I appreciate the look of appreciate the look of the local scene, and we'll catch up with you. We'll catch up with you next month because see what I did there. All right, thanks Ed for chiming in. Let's go ahead and get over here, and we'll get to on the other line here. Sean, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Hey, big shout out to Ed. He's always the best. I reserve my phone calls till when Twitch makes a good idea, and he had a good opinion about being polarizing, and that's pretty much what you try to want to do, right? Get the biggest punch for the dollar. People hate you, people love you.
Is that why it's been a couple of years since you called?
Yeah, pretty much. So, congratulations there, Twitch.
Well,
and
thank
it comes
you.
to a point, isn't it a pre-production meeting and a post-production meeting and really meticulously looked at what the conversation is on the cast of a wrestling show? Like, wouldn't it be up to the boss to make the changes of what somebody said as a commentator?
Well, in which instance? Are we talking?
I think he's talking about the Cornette thing.
The Cornette thing.
And
it was pre-recorded.
The one that you originally about the NXT announcer.
Oh, about Mauro Ranallo. Well, I mean,
right.
I think the issue is, though, this is something that, because it's social media, there isn't any type of management that is that closely scrutinizing your social media posts. I mean, they would think that you would have professional discretion, and it would certainly be advised. In this case, it was ignored. But no, I don't think that it's one of those things that can be, you don't know what somebody's going to tweet ahead of time, and ultimately it's your own decision and discretion. But as we've seen in this case, Graves hasn't really backed down on his comments, even with the gritted teeth apology on his podcast, which was not even more so, like, if he wanted to get things out to the public, he'd just tweet it, but instead it's, hey, come listen to me apologize on my podcast.
Right.
It
doesn't seem right to throw rocks at a coworker. That's all.
Yeah, and it's funny now that Ferran brought that up. Hey, you're right. People that I'm just gonna put it on my podcast where I know that people that like me are gonna listen. I'm already gonna have people that are on my side are gonna listen to this. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with like Cornette talking about that whole thing. Of course, he's going to say it on his podcast, where most of the people that listen are going to be on his side, and the people that don't like him are going to listen just to that part. So it's essentially he's only going to say it to double his ratings, I suppose. I don't want to say viewership, but his
listenership. Yeah,
his listenership. Yeah. Totally a selfless move there, Graves.
Yeah, it just seems wrong.
Yeah, it
you know,
does.
anybody, but you know as well as everybody in that room, you put yourself in the public eye, you're open to criticism.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we will going in the people who don't necessarily like him aspect of things. There was, as this process was playing out, there was a rather noted hashtag that was rather popular. While I can't say the exact wording of it, we'll just say hashtag F Corey Graves. That was a thing going on Twitter. So,
wow.
Yeah. So there was definitely a lot of scathing negativity toward Graves's opinion and comments. And while he's not necessarily, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, it could have definitely been phrased a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a more constructive way, just something of, even just something simple as maybe a little bit more balance between the commentators might be refreshing. I mean, even that, it isn't necessarily as snarky or scathing.
I mean, unfortunately, even if he had said that, though, I don't think people still would have, I feel like. Now, in this instance, he was in the wrong. If he had said that, given how the internet is, still wouldn't have.
Well, how do you constructively, how would you constructively phrase?
You don't.
You don't?
You don't. That's unfortunately how it is. If you don't want to, you can't constructively criticize someone over social media. Because there's going to be backlash either way.
So you go to the NXT producers and say, hey, here's a suggestion from Corey Graves?
Yeah, pretty much. You can't pop off on Twitter. And if you pop off on Twitter, I guarantee you there's going to be at least 5 people that are going to be like, hey, F you, Corey.
At least.
At least.
But I don't
Absolutely.
know. I mean, how much of it is making mountains out of, not necessarily molehills, but making mountains out of hills just with anything, any crossword or any, I don't know. It's... There's so much self-editing that has to go on here, and I'm trying to do it on the fly here, and it's not working.
This is the detriment of social media. It's the fakeness of social media is anytime you do give a controversial opinion, whether or not it is right or wrong, or you could have phrased it differently, it's this thing of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all, at least if you're in the public eye. If you're just some guy who lives in a house, whether or not that being in your parents' basement or with a family, apparently, fire at will. But, if you're in the public eye, if you can't say anything nice, don't say it at all.
I mean, regardless, if you don't say something nice, then you're pretty much going to be told, "How rude!"
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, guys, keep up the good work. I'll talk to you another time that he makes a great comment, and we'll go from there.
All right, so we'll catch you in 2021. Got it.
Yeah, right. I mark my calendar.
Yeah. You're giving me 2 years though. That's good.
Well,
a lot better than 5.
Well, it could be 20 or 21 weeks. I don't know. Maybe that could be my backpedal in case you come up with a brilliant idea sooner than that. Maybe. Which I'm confident you will.
I'm sure.
That sounded almost as gritted teeth as Corey Graves' apology.
Yeah.
No, I have a good heart, for real.
Thank you, Sean.
No, these guys do well.
As do I. No, I appreciate it, Sean. Good to talk to you. It's a long time coming. We'll see if I'll even plant a good idea in Twitch's head so he can say it, so then Sean can call back. There we go.
I'll just ignore it like I usually do. How rude!
It works so well.
Yes, it
All
does.
right, we're going to take care of some business here and then come back. We've got a little bit of Survivor Series talk. We've got some Jericho talk to get into and a whole bunch more and a little bit of time to do it in. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Crayola Experience in Easton, PA. Now filled with even more of Crayola's latest and greatest hits, including 4 new attractions. New this summer. Color your free Scribble Scrubby pet. Scrub it clean, then do it again. Also new. Watch your design rock the runway. Bring your silly selfie to the big screen. And discover interactive fun with new Create and Play. Plus 23 more hands-on attractions with tons of colorful Crayola keepsakes.
Come see what's new at Crayola Experience in Easton, PA.
Join Paul Jolovitz and Tom Cordella every Monday night at 6 as they break down the upcoming Eagles matchup with the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show live from a nearby Parks Casino or Chickies and Pete's location. Paul, Tom, and a different Eagles guest will talk about the ins and outs of Philadelphia Eagles football. It's the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show Monday night at 6 on 1490 WBCB 610 ESPN. Video stream live on WBCBSports.com and Facebook Live.
Elena had another asthma attack. She's really sad to miss school again.
Asthma can be triggered by allergens from common pests.
I just can't shake this fever.
Mosquito bites can cause West Nile and Zika virus infections.
Sorry, boss. I'm going to be out of work for a while.
The CDC estimates that more than 300,000 Lyme disease cases spread by ticks occur in the U.S. each year. Don't let pests force you to take a sick day. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
The cooler weather has its pest problems such as spiders, bed bugs, roaches, and mice. These problems can be fixed easily and inexpensively with termite proofing and pest control. Call now at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, November 30th. On this date in 1997, ECW held its November to Remember pay-per-view. In the main event, Shane Douglas pinned Bam Bam Bigelow to win the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 1998, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Chattanooga, Tennessee. In the main event, Bret Hart defeated Diamond Dallas Page by knockout in a no disqualification match to win the WCW United States Championship. On this day in 2009, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Baltimore, Maryland. In the main event, Triple H pinned Chris Jericho. On this day in 2015, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In the main event, Alberto Del Rio, King Barrett, Rusev, Sheamus, and The New Day defeated Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and the Usos in a handicap tag team match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, November 30th.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Veron Derry here with you alongside Mitch and Twitch.
Hello.
And
hello.
Yeah, lots of things going on here. So we didn't really get much into the Survivor Series pay-per-view. NXT did well, SmackDown did okay, and Raw, they got a win in their whole inter-brand supremacy thing. I don't know. I feel like I mean, what does it really say about the supremacy, quote unquote? It's, I know I'm going back about 40 years with this, but it's like the old game show Blockbusters, where you had two contestants, like a family pair, competing against a solo player, and they were always trying to see whether two heads were really better than one. But it's not like they ever kept track. So it was just more of a fun little cutesy talking point, I suppose.
All I'm thinking of Blockbuster is the store that is no more.
There's one Blockbuster left.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I forget where it is, but if you're listening, we're standing with you. You are not alone.
All right, just
Actually, yes, you are.
for your own edification, you can go and after the show, look up on the interwebs Blockbusters game show, and have a little fun with that, and maybe get caught in a trap like I do when it comes to game shows.
I think that Survivor Series has. What I like about Survivor Series is you have matches that you don't often get to see. I wish they would do more of them, though. I think it would be nice if they, like how Ring of Honor used to have War of the Worlds, right? When you'd have matches of it could even be like 2 nights. You know what I mean? Have the NXT Takeover on a Friday night, and then Saturday night it's Survivor Series night 1, and Survivor Series night 2. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not saying them having them be like 5 hours long. But it's like the main event of night 1 could be like Roderick Strong versus, I don't know. I just like it has the potential to have more dream match scenarios.
Well, here's the challenge with that.
There we go.
Well, there's this little kind of roadblock in the way called SmackDown.
Oh, right.
On Fridays. Yeah, so they can't.
I'm still used to it being on Tuesdays. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. No, and I appreciate the premise, and I know there's a lot of that, especially with like Wrestle Kingdom Day 1 and Day 2 now. That's going to be a thing in January, I believe.
There's
At least I thought so. I mean, maybe I'm a little off on that. I thought I read something somewhere about that, but maybe that was also a fever dream. I don't know. It's been a rough week, like I said. But one thing that can certainly help get over that rough week or contribute to more of it is
a little bit of the bubbly.
And I don't know if you knew this or not, but Chris Jericho, Le Champion, along with Stephen Amell of Arrow fame, they have collaborated as Amell has his, I believe it's, somewhere on the West Coast based Knocking Point Wines. They have actually collaborated to make a sparkling wine that is called
a little bit of the bubbly.
And you can pre-order it now at, you can either go to knockingpointwines.com or littlebitofthebubbly.com.
You could have just played the drop and then said .com. You
well, no, because it's not a little bit of the bubbly. It's just simply littlebitofthebubbly.com. So I wouldn't have had the ability to clip it, at least. Yeah. So I know what I'm doing. I've done this radio thing for a little bit.
No, I've done this for a little bit. You've done this for a while.
Exactly.
I've done
been around a bit, eh?
Tad bit.
Wink, wink, nudge. Not saying them all. Oh goodness!
You dare mock the I can't go with that one.
But yeah,
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. There, I can say that one.
Yeah, there are a few Monty Python things that I was gonna say. Ted walked in as you were saying that, so I knew. Yeah, you knew. It was like, all right, clean up quick, the boss is coming. Sweep that under the rug, under the mat.
We're all individuals. I'm not.
But yeah, so it's a little on the steep side at about $23 a bottle, and you have to order a minimum of 2. But I mean, it's a sparkling Riesling. I like sparkling wine, and I like Riesling. It's like a German-style white wine. So I am intrigued. But it's a pre-order. They'll start shipping out the second week of December. So what is that smile and nod for?
Nothing. I'll tell you after the show. It is something that we can't say whether or not Ted was in the room.
Okay. I have a hunch as to what it might be, but we'll leave my
my
past personal exploits out of this.
Yes, it has to do with the Riesling.
Okay, fair enough.
Now knowing what a...
Now that you know what you did not know what a Riesling was okay,
no,
fair
I did
enough.
not. Yeah.
You're terrible. Anyway, WWE, they announced a couple of matches. Yeah, even though they had the Survivor Series pay-per-view last week, there's the network special tomorrow night of Starrcade.
Ooh.
And they're going to be presenting that on the WWE Network tomorrow night. So you've got a 4-way WWE Women's Tag Title match. You've got the Kabuki Warriors against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, against Sasha Banks and Bayley, against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Oh, by the way, Alexa Bliss is back.
Yes.
For those who missed SmackDown last night. Yes. In fact, there were a couple of returns last night on SmackDown.
Yes.
Bliss making her return to save Nikki Cross from a double-team attack by Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Bliss had been out of action with a minor shoulder injury since the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view back in early October. And Elias also made a return, at least during a backstage segment with Drake Maverick and Dana Brooke, appearing to sing a song after the married Maverick failed to get a mistletoe kiss from Brooke. Yeah, he'd been out of action since the beginning of September with an ankle injury and was originally expected back in the ring in late October or early November, but here we are about to cross into December and still no in-ring action. Monday Night Wars. I'm going old school. Wednesday Night Wars. We won't know until Monday how Week 9 did because the ratings were delayed due to the Thanksgiving holiday. So far, NXT leading 7-1. Or strike that, reverse it. AEW leading over NXT. NXT won the most recent week that we have ratings on. It's been a rough week. Leave me the hell alone.
I'm not judging.
And finally, the Fiend Bray Wyatt revealed a new image of the Universal Championship customized for him. It has his Fiend face on it. It has hurt and heel on the outside, some stitches. It's a really interesting design.
Created by the workshop of Tom Savini.
Yes, known for a lot of different horror films and things like that. And they've also worked on most of the Fiend's creative items as well as the Firefly segments. And you can get a replica of this particular title as WWE Shop's website. They put it up, I think, either late last night or early today. But, yeah, I think you may have to borderline take out a mortgage to be able to afford it, as it's for the low price of $6,499.99 for a replica title belt. Unbelievable. All right, we've got just under 4 minutes left and a lot to get into for that time that we all love called...
Oh, now you want to talk. Now you want to talk. Birthdays! Got it.
No, he didn't even cue.
Well, because you both did. False start on both of you. All right. Birthdays, moving on. Doing it myself. Hell with both of you. All right, we've got 5 plus 5 Brucey bonuses. That's why I'm rushing through here. On this date in 1930, George Gordon Battle Liddy was born. The former FBI agent, lawyer, actor, and figure in the Watergate scandal from the 70s, and was also a guest judge for the WrestleMania 2 boxing match between Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. T. You know him publicly as G. Gordon Liddy. He turns 89 today. Yeah, I got some obscure ones. What can I say? But
No,
also
the fact that we want someone with zip, someone with moxie. That guy from Watergate, get him.
Oh, Vince. On this date in 1964, Keiichi Yamada was born. The legendary Japanese wrestler, WCW light heavyweight champion, and 11-time IWGP junior heavyweight champion, known as Jushin Thunder Liger, turns 55 today.
Ooh. Nice.
Going back to the celebrity realm, on this date in 1965, Ben Stiller was born.
Ooh.
Yeah, he appeared on Monday Night Raw in 1999. He's the actor and comedian known for movies like Dodgeball, Meet the Parents, There's Something About Mary, and a whole host of others. Zoolander. Yeah, we could go on the rest of the show and then some. He's 54 today. Wow. Yikes. Wow. On this date in 1973, William Jason Riso was born, the former 9-time WWE Tag Champ and former 2-time WWE World Heavyweight Champ known as Christian, or Christian Cage in TNA. He's 46 today. And on this date in 1987, Trinity McRae was born. The 2-time WWE SmackDown Women's Champion and Total Divas star known as Naomi turns 32 today. Now to the Brucey bonuses, things outside of the world of wrestling, as crazy as that already was. On this date in 1929, Joan Gans Cooney was born. Who's that? The television producer and co-founder of the Children's Television Workshop and co-creator of the children's TV show Sesame Street. She turns 90 today. Yeah. Wow. On this date in 1955, Andrew Mullen Gray was born. The former Scottish football player and longtime football pundit for Sky Sports, known simply as Andy Gray, turns 64 today.
Oh, take a bow, son. I mean that. Take a bow.
I knew that was coming.
You knew it was coming. On this date in
that one
1957, that was for you. And so is this one, too. On this date in 1957, Colin Mockery was born.
Ooh.
The Scottish-Canadian actor, writer, and improv comedian known for the British and U.S. versions of Whose Line Is It Anyway? He turns 62 today. On this date in 1962, Vincent Edward Jackson was born. The former pro baseball and football player, the only pro athlete in history to be named an all-star in both Major League Baseball and NFL football, known better as Bo Jackson. Bo knows, and Bo turns 57 today. And on this date in 1980, this one's for Ted, Shane Patrick Victorino was born. The former Major League Baseball outfielder who won the World Series in 2008 with the Philadelphia Phillies, those world champions, and with the Boston Red Sox in 2013, nicknamed the Flying Hawaiian. He turns 39 today. Wow, what a show. That's going to do it here. Teddy Faw's up next with the Country Roads. Play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock in All's Well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBC.